May 13, 1912, Power to Voters. The United States House of Representatives approved a constitutional amendment to change the method of electing United States senators. This legislative action was a key moment in American political reform and led directly to the ratification of the 17th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Prior to this amendment, senators were chosen by state legislatures, a process that was widely criticized for corruption, inefficiency, and lack of public accountability. The approval by the House represented a formal recognition of public demand for greater democratic participation in federal government. The original constitutional framework, as outlined in Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution, granted state legislatures the authority to elect senators. This design intended to preserve the influence of the states within the federal system. However, by the late 19th century, numerous problems emerged from this system. Legislative deadlocks frequently left Senate seats vacant, and accusations of bribery and influence peddling were common. For example, in Illinois, the 1909 election of William Lorimer was invalidated by the Senate due to corruption allegations. Progressive-era reformers advocated for direct election as a remedy for these problems. The movement gained momentum following grassroots pressure, public outcry, and support from reform-minded politicians. Several states attempted workarounds by holding non-binding popular votes to influence their legislatures' selections. By the early 20th century, support for a constitutional amendment grew within Congress. The Senate passed a version of the amendment on June 12, 1911, but with provisions that delayed agreement. The House approval on May 13, 1912, marked a turning point as both chambers ultimately reconciled their differences. The final language of the amendment, which was ratified on April 8, 1913, stated that senators would be elected by the people thereof for 6 years. This shift aligned Senate elections with the democratic principles of the House and responded to long-standing criticism that the Senate was too detached from public will. The direct election of senators enhanced transparency, reduced legislative corruption, and increased public confidence in the legislative branch. The amendment also altered the balance of power between state and federal governments. While it diminished the role of state legislatures in federal representation, it strengthened the perceived legitimacy of the Senate by making senators directly accountable to their constituents. The 17th Amendment has since been viewed as a cornerstone achievement of the progressive movement and a landmark in expanding democratic governance in the United States. The House vote on May 13, 1912, was therefore not a routine legislative action, but a historic decision that changed the structure of American democracy. It reflected popular sentiment, responded to institutional failures, and resulted in one of the most significant constitutional reforms of the 20th century. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.